Okay, so good evening, Mr. Ramkumarr Seshu. Could you tell us a little bit more about your company, when it was started?
Born to Win was started, thank you very much, Mihir. Born to Win was started in the year 2003. It's a attitude transformation, mindset change company.
Okay, so what is your founding story?
Mihir, I used to run one of the largest healthcare communications companies in this country. And this is during, the years 99, 2000, 2001. And I realized that, corporate India is scaling up in terms of finance, in terms of markets. But the one thing that hadn't scaled up was the mindset of the people working in the corporate world. And I was very keen that we do something by which we bring to India a program by which the mindsets of people will change. And therefore, they'll be able to do more, they'll be able to do faster, they'll be able to do better, enhance productivity, increase sales, focus on quality, all of that which is important for the growth of corporate India.
Okay, nice, very interesting. So which year did you found it?
As I told you, Mihir, 2003 is when we founded it. But it was a completely unknown concept. Okay. So we struggled for 1 year before we actually got our first client.
Oh, okay, interesting. So entrepreneurship is all about making choices. Which were the critical choices you made that made your company in the trajectory?
Well, in life, you always have two options, Mihir. You have the easy option and the hard option. We chose the hard option. We said we will not change our basic core values. Our core value was that we must help the people who come into our program. We must help the companies that do our program. We must deliver as promised. And we will not compromise on the quality of the program, or we will not do anything short term so that we will be in a position to deliver. We are one of the few companies, Mihir, in the country today that even now has a money back guarantee with our clients. If our customers are not happy with what we've delivered to them, no questions asked, we give them back the entire amount of money. Having said that, I must tell you that I have only had, in the last 18 years, 3 client defaults. So the program works. And some of my clients have been with me for the last 18 years.
Wow, that's impressive. That's quite good to know. Okay, so now that we should do a little bit of a rapid fire round where you could just give us some more insights about you and your company. So first question, which has been the happiest moment of your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, Mihir, whenever I'm traveling, and before this pandemic, I would be on the road 2-3 times a week. And I've had so many entrepreneurs coming and meeting me and saying, "Sir, thank you very much. Thanks to your program, our whole life has changed, and things have become so much better. We've been able to grow. We're so much more happier." And I think that really is what makes an enormous amount of sense for us.
All right. And which has been the most difficult moment of your career?
Mihir, walking away from a very large deal. A deal that would have made a huge impact to Born to Win. But we walked away primarily because of the fact that the client was, just going through the motions. He wanted us to do what he wanted us to do. And we were sure that we were not going to deliver any great value to him. It was a big deal for us. It was a multi-year, multi-city deal. And it was very difficult to walk away from that deal. It would have meant a lot of money for the company, but it would have meant that we were going to take the easy option and we would have regretted it all our life.
Okay, oh, wow, that's quite something. So we talk a lot about learning from failures. What is that one thing that you could have done differently?
The 3 things actually, Mihir. Okay. The first, I think we should have expanded a lot more. We are now in Bangalore, Chennai, and Delhi, with the rep office in Mumbai. I think we should have expanded far more. We should have been across the country. While we run programs in 31 cities, we should have been present now in at least 15 or 20 cities. That is one regret that I have, that we didn't do that. The second regret that I have is that we've only managed in the last 18 years, we've only managed to impact about 100,000 people. Now that's a very impressive figure, but I think in the last 18 years we should have impacted at least a million minds in the corporate sector. So that's another regret that I have. And the third regret that I have is that I'm not able to focus on and get my book out, which I'm hoping to get the first book out as quickly as possible with the help of some dear friends of mine.
I'm sure they will help you out very quickly. So speaking of books, you must have some books that you like to read. Do you have any?
Yes, Mihir, I have a very a different taste in reading. At any point of time, I'm reading three kinds of books. One is, of course, my all-time go-to book, which is the Bhagavad Gita. That's my go-to book at any point of time, and I must read it every day. The second, I love reading about the lifestyles, I love reading biographies of great people, of what they've done, especially the early part of their life when they've gone through their struggles and come up. I love reading that. And the third, you'll be surprised, I love reading absolute pulp. So at any point of time, I'm reading some complete pulp stuff, which kind of takes my mind off what I'm doing. Right now, I'm reading a lot of P.G. Wodehouse. Great fun going back, reading it. I must be reading this again for the second time, but good fun.
Yeah, that Bodhi Wester is quite a character.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so if you were not doing what you're doing right now, running your company Born to Win, what would you be doing?
I would have been a farmer.
Okay.
I would have been, agriculture is something which I have a lot of interest in. I would have been a farmer. I would have been perhaps teaching in a rural school, molding the minds of young children.
Oh, so sweet. Okay, so what activity do you love doing in your company?
Our company, I'm glad you asked that question. There are, our whole process is based on something that we call the 4 Ds, which is diagnosis, design, deployment, and discipline. I love the entire diagnosis part, where I spend time with my customers, working with them and try to figure out, what is it that they need to fix in their company to help them grow.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you're part of a really lovely group that is BNI, which has so many members. You're part of BNA Odyssey Bangalore, and through BNI Odyssey, you have a lot of access to members locally and globally. So that is quite a great advantageous point for you as an entrepreneur. How would you rate your experience of Odyssey?
Well, both BNI and Odyssey have been great experiences. Let me make a confession. I was a reluctant entrant into BNI. Somehow, I don't know. Like so many people out there in the market, I wasn't very convinced that BNI is the platform for me, and therefore I was reluctant to join. But I really thank my friend Vivek Prabhu for having, arm twisted me in many ways to join BNI. Because once I've joined BNI, I realized the power of BNI. I realized the benefit of belonging to a very, very professional network. And coming down to Odyssey, what should I say? Odyssey has become a way of life as far as I'm concerned. I just love Odyssey. I love the members in Odyssey. I love the relationships that I have with so many people in Odyssey. I love what Odyssey does because I simply believe that Odyssey is the best BNI chapter anywhere in the world. And why do I say that? Because Odyssey is a unique combination of people like me who are very experienced. We have second generation entrepreneurs like you, Mihir, who bring in a tremendous amount of energy and a tremendous amount of their own experience to Odyssey. We have a number of professionals who are part of Odyssey, people who've been leading a professional life, who've been working, and have now become entrepreneurs. So that adds another beautiful flavor to Odyssey. And we have some of the most energetic startups. Now, what more do you want? I mean, in one place, if you can get experience, you can get the experience of people who've been in business for many, many years, like a second generation, third generation businessman, or professionals or startups. I think all this kind of makes for Odyssey to be one of the most interesting places to be in.
Okay, wow, that's quite something. Yes. So, what would be the one thing that you have learned from BNA Odyssey?
The one thing that I must say, that I've learned and I keep learning, is that there is no limit to the amount that a human being can go ahead and achieve. And I keep hearing of success stories day in and day out at Odyssey. And that is something that hugely, hugely inspires me, because, there are times when all of us get a little jaded saying, we've seen this, we've seen that, what the hell is that? And then suddenly you hear of a fascinating, success story and you say, wow, I mean, that's something which is interesting. Like, for instance, the story that you shared with us about those giant bearings that you brought down from the windmills and how you had to service them. And this, it's so fascinating. I mean, I would never have heard of this story. So likewise, there are so many people, so many of our members who have small successes, large successes, and when they share it, it's not only inspiring, but it gives us, a lot of energy.
That is quite inspiring. So, how would you rate your entrepreneurial journey? I mean, if you were to say something about it.
Long way to go, Mihir.
Okay.
A long way to go. I started my journey 40 years ago, Mihir.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I started selling vegetables in Bombay. That was in the 1980s and 81. And, from then on, I worked for a little while, but then I was fortunate that wherever I worked, I was part of 2 startups. I was part of 3 turnarounds. So it's been a long entrepreneurial journey as far as I'm concerned. Entrepreneurship to me is a mindset, Mihir. Right now, okay, I am one of the largest shareholders of Born to Win. But having said that, this journey of mine is a 40-year journey. And what have I learned? I've learned that just don't rest on what you have achieved today. Because what you can achieve tomorrow, what the possibilities tomorrow brings, is far, far more interesting. So don't ever sit back and say that, I've seen it, I've done it all, and I've now learned everything that there is that I have to learn. It just is an ongoing journey.
Oh, okay. So, final question. What is your dream as an entrepreneur?
Now,
yeah,
I have 3 dreams that I'm right now perusing here. One is, as you can see on the poster there, enough is enough. Dimak ki batti jalao. I am now in the process of working on creating 1 million enlightened entrepreneurs. I'm going to take them through a structured program that we're about to launch, and I'm very, very keen that we create an environment by which entrepreneurs in India and Bharat, in the towns and the villages of Bharat, will realize their entrepreneurship potential. So that is one thing that I'm working on right now. The second thing that I'm working on right now, which is again very, very exciting to me, is that India is going to become a $5 trillion economy. Okay, and we're trying to figure out how we can showcase this. How can we get entrepreneurs to start looking at the opportunities that are bound to happen when we get to $5 trillion as an economy? So that's another project that I'm working on right now. The third project that I'm working on is again another very exciting thing. We do a lot of pro bono work with government schools, and therefore we are very keen to reach out on a yearly basis to at least 100,000 students in 8th, 9th, 10th standards in government schools. Get them to start believing in themselves, start believing in their capacity to win. So these are 3 interesting projects. Of course, in addition to the book that I'm writing on the Bhagavad Gita and how it is relevant to today's problems, today's challenges.
All right, lovely. Okay, so that is quite interesting. Thank you for your time, sir. And yes, this was quite enlightening.
Thank you so much, Mihir. Here is to Odyssey, I think the finest place. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts.
Thank you.